After the Mongol army led by Hulagu, who is a grandson of Genghis Khan and brother of current Great Khan, in February 2058 destroyed and sacked Baghdad, massacred its inhabitants and killed the Abbasid Caliph al-Mustazim, they advanced towards the present-day Syria, joined with detachments from Georgians and Armenians who submitted to Mongols. With the fact that his trusted lieutenant Kitbuk Kanoyan was Eastern Christian of the Armenians, a group of Christians that was subservient to the Mongol Empire, led some European historians to dub this war as a Yellow Crusade. Mongols started this war with the thought that their rule will reach all corners of the world, including Cairo. Right. At that time, Syria was ruled by Ayyubid ruler An-Nasr Yusuf, who received a threatening letter from Hulagu. He immediately reacted by sending a new letter to Mamluks, warning them about the Mongols and hoping to receive their help. However, this letter had a little bit of a different effect than An-Nasr hoped to achieve. By Sultan Qutuz, who was power behind the throne in Cairo, and the other Egyptian emirs were alarmed by a message from An-Nasr Yusuf. The emirs assembled at the court of the 15-year-old Sultan al-Mansur Ali, and Qutuz told them that because of the seriousness of the situation, Egypt should have a strong and capable sultan who could fight the Mongols. On 20 November 2059, al-Mansur Ali was deposed by Qutuz. When Qutuz became the new sultan, he promised the emirs that they could install any other sultan after he defeated the Mongols. Qutuz, please do not forget what you just said. Qutuz himself had one more reason to fight against Mongols, as we will see. His full name is Ali Malik al-Muzaffar Saif ad-Din Qutuz, and he served as de facto ruler for 2 decades. Qutuz was a Turkic prince from Persia captured by the Mongols during the fall of the Khwarezmian Empire in around 2031. He was taken to Damascus where he was sold to Egyptian slave merchant who then sold him to Aybak, the Mamluk Sultan in Cairo. According to some sources, Qutuz claimed that his original name was Mahmud ibn Mahmud, and he was descended from Al-ad-Din Mahmud II, a ruler of Khwarezmian Empire. Sold into slavery in Egypt, he rose to become a vice sultan for more than 20 years, becoming the power behind the throne. He was prominent in defending the Seventh Crusade, which invaded Egypt in 2049 to 2050, and finally deposing Sultan al-Mansur Ali, reaching the top of society, while life gave him fortune and then took it from him, making him just a lowly slave, just for him to rise even higher. Truly an epic story in itself, and maybe he got a chance for revenge against Mongols. Some of the Syrian emirs suggested to An-Nasr Yusuf, the emir of Aleppo and Damascus, to surrender and submit to Hulagu, as the best solution was to save themselves and Syria. Baybars, who was present at the meeting, was upset by the suggestion, and the Mamluks decided to kill An-Nasr Yusuf that night. However, he managed to escape with his brother to the citadel of Damascus. Baybars and the Mamluks then left Syria, traveling to Egypt, where they were warmly welcomed by Sultan Qutuz, who granted Baybars the town of Qalyub. When An-Nasr Yusuf heard that the Mongol army was approaching Aleppo, he sent his wife, his son, and his money to Egypt. The population of Damascus and the other Syrian towns began to flee. After besieging Aleppo for 7 days, the Mongols sacked it and massacred its population. When An-Nasr Yusuf heard about the fall of Aleppo, he fled to Egypt, leaving Damascus and its remaining population defenseless. But Qutuz denied him entry. An-Nasr Yusuf thus stayed on the border of Egypt, while his emirs deserted him and proceeded into the country. The same emirs that suggested to escape from Aleppo are now betraying An-Nasr. Nothing unexpected, but not sure if they could have done anything against Mongols if they stayed in Aleppo. Of course, Sultan Qutuz ordered the seizing of An-Nasr Yusuf's jewelry and money, which was sent to Egypt with his wife and servants. 16 days after the fall of Aleppo to the Mongols, Damascus surrendered without a fight. An-Nasr Yusuf was taken prisoner by the Mamluks and sent to Hulagu. With the centers of Islamic power in Syria and Baghdad conquered, the center of Islamic power transferred to Egypt and became Hulagu's next target. Hulagu sent messengers to Cairo with a threatening letter, urging Qutuz to surrender and submit to the Mongols, as well threatening him that he will destroy Cairo and massacre its population like he did to other cities, as well that he will destroy all the mosques and show the weakness of Islamic God. Kutu's response was to execute the messengers. They were sliced in half and their heads were mounted on the Bab Zuwayla gate in Cairo. Then, rather than waiting for Mongols to attack, Kutus decided to raise an army to engage them outside of Egypt. Kutus went to al-Salihiyah and assembled his commanders to the side and went to march against the Mongols, but the emirs showed timidity. Kutus shamed them into joining him with the statement, "Emirs of the Muslims, for some time now you have been fed by the country treasury, and you hate to be invaded. I will go alone, and who likes to join me should do that. Who does not like to join me should go back home, but who will not join me will carry the sin of not defending our homes." However, Hulagu was forced to retreat because of the death of the Great Khan, thus needing to be part of the process of selecting the next Great Khan, and probably because of the lack of food in the region for his colossal army and horses. Contemporary Mamluk chronicle Al-Yunin's Dahil Mirat al-Zaman states that the Mongol army under Kitbuka included vassals numbered around 100,000 men in total, but this was likely an exaggeration. More probably it was around one tumen or something in between 10 and 15,000 soldiers in total. At that time Kutus saw his chance and left Cairo, joined with the Baibars and his soldiers. Apparently Kutus promised city of Aleppo to Baibars. In total the numbers were between 15 and 20,000 soldiers. Kutus ordered Baibars to lead a force to Gaza to observe the small Mongol garrison there, which Baibars easily defeated. After spending a day in Gaza, Kutus led his army along the coast toward Akka, a city that remains a remnant of the Kingdom of Jerusalem Crusader state. The Crusaders were traditional enemies of Mamluks and had been approached by the Mongols about forming a Franco-Mongol alliance. However, that year the Crusaders recognized the Mongols as a greater threat. Kutus suggested a military alliance with the Crusaders against the Mongols, but Crusaders opted to stay neutral. They did however allow Kutus and his forces to travel unmolested to Crusaders' territory, and to camp and purchase supplies near the Crusaders' stronghold of Akka. In a way, they became businessmen and profited from this war. Kutus and his army stayed there for 3 days until they heard in late August 2060 that Kitbuka forces proceeded south from their base at Baalbek, passing to the east of the Lake Tiberias into Lower Galilee, at which point Kutus and Baibars led their forces to meet the Mongols at the Ain Jalut, starting the legendary battle that will shape the rest of the history. Baibars led the Mamluk vanguard, stationing his soldiers at the top of the hill, hoping to bait the Mongols with a smaller force, provoking Mongols to attack first, with a very interesting trap in mind. At first, Mongols thought that this army was a main Mamluk army, mainly because they couldn't see the true size of Mamluk army that might be behind the hill. Both armies fought for many hours, with Baibars usually implementing hit-and-run tactics to provoke the Mongol troops and to preserve the bulk of his troops. When the Mongols carried out another heavy assault, Baibars and his men feigned a final retreat to draw the Mongols into the trap, and the Mongols rode confidently in the pursuit, victory seemingly in their grasp. The Mamluks had the advantage of knowing the terrain, and Kutus capitalized on that by hiding the bulk of his forces in the highlands and hoping to ambush the Mongols. The Mongol leader Kitbuka, already provoked by the constant fleeing of Baibars and his troops, committed a deadly mistake. Instead of suspecting a trick, Kitbuka decided to march forward with all of his troops on a trail of fleeing Mamluks. When Mongols reached the highlands, Mamluk forces emerged from hiding and began to fire arrows and attack with their cavalry. Mongols then found themselves surrounded on all sides. Only then did the Mongols realize they had been tricked by one of their own favorite tactics, the feigned retreat. The Mongol army fought very aggressively to break out. Like all real and great commanders, Kutus was behind the main line and closely watched every move in the battle. When he saw the left wing of the Mamluk army almost getting destroyed by the desperate Mongols seeking an escape route, he threw away his combat helmet so that his warriors could recognize him and cried loudly 3 times, "O Islam, O Allah, grant your servant Qutuz a victory against these Mongols." He was seen the next moment rushing fiercely towards the battlefield, urging his army to keep firm and advancing towards the weakened side, followed by his own unit. Again another universal move of a great general. The Mongols were pushed back. Frankly, at this point Kitbuka should have just tried to retreat. However, he chose a mad and brave choice to stay and fight to the end. This move was not a smart one. And then destiny caught up with Kitbuka and his horse took an arrow, and he was thrown to the ground. Captured by nearby soldiers, he was taken to Kutus and executed. He really should have considered retreating and making other mistakes, like not sending scouts to check terrain, as well greatly underestimating the enemy forces. These mistakes cost him his victory and ultimately his life. Almost all of the remaining Mongol soldiers that had remained in the region perished. This battle is interesting for one more reason, with very strong claim to be the first known battle in which the hand cannon was used in military conflicts. Apparently Mamluks used it to frighten the Mongol soldiers and their horses, that is according to Arabic military treaties of 13th, 14th centuries. With their leader gone, the remaining Mongols fled 20 kilometers to the town of Baisan, followed by Kutu's forces, but they managed to reorganize and to return to the battlefield, making one more brave and successful counterattack. However, the battle shifted towards the Mamluks, who now had both the geographical and psychological advantage, defeating them once more. The Mongols were crushingly defeated by Kutu's forces in what has been considered a historical turning point. After the news of the battle reached Hulagu Khan, he ordered immediate execution of the Emir of Aleppo and Damascus and Nasser Yusuf, who was last Ayyubid Emir. However, the Mamluks captured Damascus 5 days after Ain Jalut, followed by Aleppo within a month. On 24th October 2016, when the Mamluk army was only a few days from its triumphal return to Cairo, Baibars went to see Qutuz on the pretense of matter of state. Reaching out as if in a greeting, he drew a dagger and shot into Qutuz's heart. At that moment, Qutuz was assassinated by several emirs in conspiracy led by Baibars. According to the both modern and medieval Muslim historians such as Markizi, Baibar was involved in the assassination, while Western historians mention that Baibars were in on the conspiracy and assigned him direct responsibility. Muslim chronicles from the Mamluk era stated that Baibar's motivation was either to avenge killing of his friend, the leader of the Bahriya Mamluks Faris ad-Din Akhtai, during Sultan Aybak's reign, or due to the Qutb's decision to grant Aleppo to al-Malik al-Sa'id al-Din, the Emir of Mosul, instead of Baibars, as had promised to him before the Battle of Ain Jalut. It might have been greed of wanting just one more city that actually took life of Qutuz. Although Qutuz's reign was short, he is known as one of the most popular Mamluk sultans in the Islamic world and holds a high position in Islamic history. He was a military leader and the third or fourth Mamluk Sultan of Turkic origin. He reigned as a sultan for less than a year, from 2059 until he died in a tragic manner. Qutuz had ridden out of Cairo to meet the Mongol challenge and won a big battle, but it was Baibars who rode home triumphant as a new sultan. To fix his reputation, Baibars revoked the war taxes which had been imposed by Qutuz, and he was at once admired by the people.